Let's go to the movies and see a show. We'll get some popcorn. Don't you wanna go? Yeah! Let's go to the movies and take some friends.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Backseat Directors. My name is André, and happy 1 year anniversary to the Snyder Cut. That is right. 1 year ago today, March 18th, 2021, was the world premiere of Zack Snyder's Justice League. And I can't believe that it's been a year already. It's crazy. It's crazy that a year has gone by since we've got the Snyder Cut. I mean, it was years in the making. All the fan campaigning, all the efforts that went into, convincing Warner Brothers that there was plenty of demand for the Snyder Cut. But yeah, crazy that it's been a year. But before March 18th, Friday today passed and was gone, I wanted to take a moment to talk about why I believe that the Snyder Cut is a historically important moment in the history of Hollywood. And so I've given this a lot of thought as to why I think, these are the reasons why the Snyder Cut is going to have repercussions and ramifications on the trajectory of Hollywood for years to come. And so, given this a lot of thought, I've kind of broken it down into three different things. And so these are the three reasons why I believe the Snyder Cut to be historically important. Let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so number one, and this is not in any particular order. These are just the three things that I think that, contributed to the Snyder Cut being just this incredible achievement. Okay. So number one is the Snyder Cut exposed how far studio executives are willing to interfere and meddle in movies. And what I mean by that is that over the years, as people were continuing to campaign for the Snyder Cut, and Zack was, continually showing images and pictures of what his movie was going to be, and all the different scenes that we did not get in the theatrical cut of Justice League. That picture began to be painted, and it became fairly clear just how much studio executives at Warner Brothers were interfering with Zack's work. From the get-go, obviously with all the backlash from BVS and, how just that movie got raked over the coals by critics and bloggers. Warner Brothers, they began to get so nervous that they lost their trust in Zack. And that's when a studio executive loses trust in their creative leaders and their directors and their filmmakers. That is when things go bad. All right. And so when I think of the most successful studio executives in Hollywood, they are the ones that are able to identify the most talented people and then get out of their way. Those are the kinds of executives that are able to have some of the most iconic movies to have ever been made. People that give, that have faith in new creatives like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. Like when Zack was pinned to direct Man of Steel and kind of jumpstart the DCEU, he had just a couple films under his belt. Like, he was brand new. He was this up and coming guy that had made a visual spectacle in 300, right? And, and so at the time, obviously with the support of Christopher Nolan, like, Zack was the guy, and he should still be the guy. But what I mean is that had the studio executives at Warner Brothers not lost faith, and if they just stayed the course, the mess that Warner Brothers is in now with their DC slate would not have happened. None of that would have happened. Like, they would have gotten past kind of the infamous dragging of BVS back in 2016. I mean, look at the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut has raving reviews. It has like a 95 or 96 approval rating from the audience. I think it's a 71 or 72 from the critics. From my understanding, it is the highest rated DC, or it's the highest rated Zack Snyder movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Not that I don't give any credit to Rotten Tomatoes. I do not care about Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just saying that they were, Warner Brothers was so concerned about course correcting and righting the ship and making sure that we can, stay in line with maybe what the critics are wanting instead of not thinking about the fans. But the Snyder Cut exposed the type of interference that studio executives can have on their movies and how detrimental it can be to those movies. And so, like, when I think of other intellectual properties, other franchises from other studios, Star Wars, Marvel, Star Trek, things, these franchises that are beloved and have been loved from fans for decades, the more studio executives get involved in the creative process, the more watered down these movies and these series become. And so, and that was on full display March 18th of last year when we got to see the Snyder Cut, and we were completely just, we were shown how Zack's movie was not the theatrical cut, and just how different the theatrical cut had been from all the different hands and opinions that were influencing that movie. So that's my first one. So just it exposed corporate studio interference. Number two is this one kind of goes hand in hand with number one, but we got to see just how much Access Media colludes with studio executives and just studios in general, and just how nefarious and how devious Access Media can be in attempting to shape narratives specifically about fans and fandoms in a very negative way. And so, with the Snyder Cut, for years, fans faced criticism of, one, it doesn't exist. But then it went from it doesn't exist to it's not finished to it's not finished to it will never come out. Like the type of rhetoric and just constant messaging from bloggers, from Variety, Vanity Fair, The Hollywood Reporter, YouTubers, just people that had just that had some type of stake in terms of maintaining access with Warner Brothers. They were never going to jeopardize their access in order to tell the truth. And so that's what the Snyder Cut exposed. It exposed the collusion between Access Media and studios to shape these narratives about fans in a way that, that it's just, it's deplorable. In my opinion, I think what Access Media has become, they're just the mouthpiece of studios now. That's all they are. They're not there to really tell the truth. They're not there to really to really share the nitty gritty details of the film industry. They're just there to be the corporate studio mouthpiece of these executives. And unfortunately, a lot of these comic book bloggers, they've joined their legacy media brethren, and becoming just, clout chasing Access Media types. And where are the real voice of the fans? They're coming from independent people, people, just random people on Twitter, YouTubers, that have no ties to any of these other, large studios or media conglomerates. Like those people represent the real fans. Those people represent the real voice of their main customers, of DC movies' main customers, and so that is one of the things that I think was so apparent and evident over the last few years, was just how Access Media colludes with studios to just throw fans under the bus. And it's sad. It really is sad. Like, think about the article that came out the Monday after the Snyder Cut was released last year, where Ann Sarnoff, she gets her exclusive with Variety to basically call fans toxic and, to throw water on the flames of the hype of the Snyder Cut at that time. The hype was through the roof that weekend. There was so much excitement. There was so much demand for more of Zack Snyder's DC movies. And then that Monday, Ann Sarnoff and Access Media, here we go. We're here to put out your guys's, all the hype that you guys have. Nah, you guys are just toxic, and we're not going to pursue any future movies with Zack. We're not going to release the Ayer cut. I mean, it's despicable. It really is. Just what has become of Access Media and what is becoming of other bloggers and things like that in order to gain access. I mean, there is no integrity. There is no integrity whatsoever. It makes me sick. It honestly does. But, okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, the final one. And this one, I think it actually might be, I said I wasn't going to rank these 3, but I think that actually this is the most important one. But the reason why the Snyder Cut is historically important is because it showed where the true power actually lies when it comes to these intellectual properties, these franchises that we love so much, that mean so much to us. These studios may own the rights to them. They may own the licensing deals for them, all the merchandising that comes from, IPs like Star Wars and DC and Marvel and things like that. But who actually owns the heart and soul of these franchises? It is the fans, and that was proven definitively with the Snyder Cut. We own the power in terms of helping guide these studios to create things that we want. I mean, you think about what fans did over the last few years to get the Snyder Cut released. It is an unbelievable achievement. It really is. When people were starting to hear that there was like an alternate version of, the Rise of Skywalker from J.J. Abrams, and they were talking about, different things that J.J. Abrams wanted to do, like blow up Coruscant, and they're like, release the J.J. Cut. Like, that lasted like maybe a day, or people that wanted a continuation of the Solo Star Wars movie, because I guess that there were plans to continue kind of with another Solo movie, and I mean, the fan campaigning for that maybe lasted like a week, maybe you'll see it pop up every now and again, but the collective fan voice for release the Snyder Cut was unbelievably massive. I mean, it took over Twitter and social media outlets for days and weeks and months on end, and it still does. To this day, you still see hashtag restore the Snyderverse, 20,000, 30,000 tweets without these aren't designated trending days. I mean, these are just fans expressing their opinions, expressing their voice, and doing it in such a profound way that Warner Brothers was unable to deny that there was massive demand for the Snyder Cut. And so yeah, I mean, the Snyder Cut, I think it really did prove that collectively fans have the power to influence studios in such a way that I think we have the power to ask for the things that we want, and we should. And so, we don't owe these studios anything. The movies and the series and things that they make, you don't have to watch it, especially if you don't like it, especially if you don't want it. Like, why? Why would you give your money to a studio that doesn't necessarily respect you or respect the things that you're asking for? You, as the customer, you should be the priority. And so I think, after years of asking for the Snyder Cut, it was finally acknowledged because if the fans had never asked for it, it would have never come out. I mean, it was because of the fans that it did. So those are my 3 reasons. Number 1, it exposed studio interference and how much it can destroy a movie. 2, it showed how much Access Media and studios collude together to shape narratives about fans. And 3, it showed the power of fandoms when fans can come together and really have a singular vision on what they want and what they're able to achieve. And so before I close out this video, though, I just want to give a shout out to all of you Snyder fans and you know who you are. I'm not going to name anybody specifically. They have, for the most part, remained anonymous because they're not necessarily looking for recognition or a pat on the back, but I'm giving you a pat on the back right now. But yeah, over the years, I've gotten to know amazing people in the Snyder Cut movement, just people that are incredibly passionate about, about what they like, about Snyder's movies, about his vision, and just people that are just awesome people, good people, and people that have put up. You would not even begin to believe the kind of money that these people have dropped, the amount of hours and work that have gone into creating these campaigns, not just in the U.S. I'm talking worldwide. These campaigns have happened in other countries outside of the U.S. But, and these are people, you probably have never heard of these people. For the most part, they're fairly anonymous on Twitter. I know who they are, but they're not appearing, they don't have YouTube channels. They're not appearing on YouTube interviews or things like that. These aren't people that are seeking recognition for themselves, but they did it for the Snyder Cut. They continue to, campaign for more Snyder DC movies. But shout out to you guys. You guys are the real heroes, man. You really are. So, guys and gals, I say guys, gender neutral. But anyway, you guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Happy 1 year anniversary to the Snyder Cut. Go watch the Snyder Cut today. Celebrate, enjoy it, enjoy the moment. But yeah, thanks again. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. The Backseat Director's theme song is Let's Go to the Movies by Ozomatli. Thanks for watching this episode. If you enjoyed the show, give us a like and hit that subscribe button. And join in the conversation online. You can find Backseat Directors on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.